We've got a massive crypto update, everybody, as Solana is in the headlines and for very good reasons because institutions like BlackRock and Fidelity are buying it up. What does this mean, though, for Solana and the rest of the crypto space? Are we about to re enter a major bull market, or is this a little bit of a fake out before the real bullishness returns? We're going to cover all that and a lot more in today's show, so stick around all the way till the end. If you're a friend of the channel, go ahead right now, smash that like button. If you're new, welcome to the Investing Bros. Hopefully you want to stick around and smash that like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. But first, before we get into all of that, we got to roll our intro. Welcome on in. I don't know why there was 3 syllables in welcome there. Welcome on in to the Investing Bros 3 p.m. live show. Just Do It says, wait, Tim was live this morning. Does this guy ever rest? I think I know who that chat is. No, the answer is no. Tim never rests. Actually, I do rest sometimes. I have a story here in a second. But yes, this morning we had our first traditional live trading show with Tim going your way every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come join me. We will be off tomorrow. I'm sacrificing one for the team. Going to play golf in the morning because we all know that the markets pump when I play golf, right? So I'm taking that morning off for your sake. But
So
then
generous.
come back on Thursday. On Thursday, 9 a.m., we will be doing more live trading. We got a lot to talk about here today, but first, let me introduce these 2 good-looking gentlemen right beneath me here on your screen. I got Smay, I got Tshroom. Smay, how are we feeling today?
Smay, Tim, I'm feeling wonderful. My name's Smay. You're Tim. I'm
Yes,
feeling
that's true.
great today. You know, obviously a little short circuit there, guys. That happens. Sometimes you get your wires crossed, but I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. And how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I got a story about how good I'm doing, but I'm going to introduce Tshroom first. Tshroom over here with our Lux Algo hat. You guys know Lux Algo is our favorite trading indicator. Tshroom, how are you doing today?
Better than I deserve, Tim. Really, really am. I got
Good.
to get a little chipping out in the backyard today, chipping
Good.
some golf balls. Man, will we ever have another intro where we don't talk about golf? But enough about
Probably
me,
not.
Tim. I want to hear this
Again,
story that you've got to tell.
listen, people want us to stick to the charts in crypto, right? Here's the deal. We have found a correlation between Tim playing golf and the markets going up. So when you really think about
Right.
it, talking about golf is bullish for the markets. We're doing this for you. No, on a more
So
serious note, I'm doing really good. Oh, your question
good.
there?
Well, I was just gonna say, so do we have to stop buying the dip and really buy the chip?
Yes, but yes. By I don't know why chip. No. But on a serious note, I was just thinking through like how things are going and the channel and everything else, and I got to take a break today around 2 p.m. We were doing our live trade, or we're doing our planning for the show, and we got to take a break. I was like, all right, we're coming back at 2:40, kind of get prepped. But I got the chance to go lay down with Brody and help him lay down for his nap. And it's just like, as I'm doing it, just kind of crosses my mind. Like, man, how many people out there are able to work a job where they can take a break and go put their 2-year-old down for a nap? I'm so very grateful to all of you guys here that come in and tune in every single day and support the channel and help me and Tshroom and Smay and Crux and so many others, people that are working with us, support our families. And yet at the same time, I get to do it in a way I'm working from home. I get to spend extra time with my family at critical times. So I just want to say a big thank you to all of you guys. I'm doing so good. I'm very grateful today to be able to do what I do for a living. And with that said, what we do for a living is we update you guys on what's happening in the markets, in the news, and on the charts. We got to throw it over to Tshroom to talk about the headlines of the day with our minute round news wrap up. Tshroom, take it away.
Let's get into it, Tim. Here, got to stay hydrated. Even in the news section, CNBC calls World Liberty Financial a bank. Since its October launch, World Liberty Financial has raised $550 million through 2 token sales, including $250 million announced last week. The Trump family-backed project, which describes itself as a crypto banking platform, disclosed that entities connected to the family could receive up to 75% of the venture's net revenue per CNBC. And the headline on CNBC is Trump-backed crypto bank joins stablecoin wars with new dollar peg token. Interesting way to phrase it there, CNBC. Very, very, very interesting indeed. Let me know. What do you guys think about that title? Is there more behind the story? Bullish speculation. GameStop's Q4 earnings call today could be massive for Bitcoin. Here's the fact set. GameStop is sitting on just under $5 billion in cash. GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen met recently with Bitcoin evangelist Michael Saylor. Maybe you've heard of him. So those are the two things that happened in the last quarter. The big idea here is, could GameStop reveal that they bought a bunch of Bitcoin? That would be pretty explosive because depending on how much money it is, I mean, if it's only maybe a 5 million, that may not move the needle very much. But if it's in the hundreds of millions, that could be the signal that you can't not own Bitcoin if you're publicly traded. Let me know what you think about that story and that speculation. CME Group partners with Google Cloud to explore putting capital markets on chain. Some big hitters there collaborating further into Web3. Solana news. CBOE has just filed a 19B4 on behalf of Fidelity for a spot Solana ETP called a Fidelity Solana Fund. Now, if you're a big Solana bull, we've got another scoop of bullish ice cream here for you, because BlackRock, another major institution, expands its blockchain-based money market fund to Solana as well. Money market funds are mutual funds that invest in highly liquid short-term debt securities. Tim, Larry Fink on our thumbnail, and there he is looking very, very pleased with himself after this big integration with Solana. Tim, that's our news. And I do want to remind folks, just before we leave our screen here, that Las Vegas is the destination for Bitcoiners. May 27th through the 29th. Link in the description for 10% off your tickets to Bitcoin Las Vegas. 2025 is a big year for Bitcoin. Celebrate it with the bros in Las Vegas. Tim, I'm so excited to meet up with Crux there in Las Vegas, have a ton of fun. Matt C is going to be there, and lots of others. So we're excited.
It's going to be a good trip. Again, I'm going to be staying back this year, running the show. Me and Smay will run the show as usual. You know what? I forgot to tell you. Quick shout out to them, by the way, because they did offer. I got a text the other night from Sin City Crypto. Go subscribe to their channel, watch their show. I think they're usually live at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They were asking if we were coming, and they said they were going to offer up our studio if we wanted to use their studio to shoot the show. They're only a couple of blocks away from the actual event. So, Tshroom, they told me to let you know, if you want to be on the show, you can pop on over to the Sin City Crypto studio and still join at the conference. So, what a great guys, over there at Sin City Crypto making that offer. Very grateful to them. With that said, though, let's get into the charts here. Let's get into some details I want everyone to be aware of. Let's check on the Fear and Greed Index really quickly. This is going to be very important as we're kind of tracking when the markets might be a little overextended and it's time for a reversal. We're still technically in the fear at 46 right here. But anytime we start getting back into neutral, especially if we ever get into greed, you're going to be a little worried here right now. For now, though, Bitcoin still in the fear last night at 46. I think we can still go a little higher here, but I am going to let everyone know I'm still kind of on that watch. I think that 74,000 is still on the table. I'll explain a little more in the chart section. This is the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, right? So Bitcoiners, they're still technically in fear, but not feeling the pain. When it comes to altcoins overall, you go over to the Coin Market Cap Fear and Greed Index, which measures all of cryptocurrency, including the altcoins. They're still more heavily in the fear. They're at 34 right now, right? So not in crazy extreme fear, but more so than Bitcoin. Just kind of goes to show Bitcoin continues to dominate right now in the crypto space. It is not altcoin season, at least not yet. I do think there will be a season where that comes, but for now, we still are dealing with fear right now in the markets. That being said, it's time to go take a look over here at the Bitcoin chart. I'm here on the 1 hour chart at the moment, and there's something I'm looking for right now to happen in the next couple of hours here on the 1 hour and the 4 hour chart. Before I get into it, though, just some quick updates in case you're newer to the show and tracking some predictions and thoughts that we have here. You'll know that we point out two major levels on Bitcoin for major resistance and major support. We are getting closer and closer and closer to that resistance spot. That is the 2 daily smart trail up here. If I can hit the settings correctly on the signals and overlays from Luxlog. There we go. We have this red smart trail, a resistance level coming in just beneath or just above, $91,000. So that level keeps getting a little bit lower here. By the time we actually reach it, it might be right at 91K. Either way, that's coming because of a 2 daily buy signal that we do have out here that makes me believe that we are heading towards that level. But you'll notice in that blue box, that zone right there, this is a major former support level that I think until we can conquer it and get back above 94, start pushing towards 100K, this could very well be some strong resistance. As far as 74K, the reason I'm continuing to believe that that is a spot to watch for, and we're going to talk about this with the recent news. You might be saying, Tim, I thought the title was that institutions are buying right now. Why are you still talking about 74K? Shouldn't we just go to the upside? Just be careful. Be careful and be patient. I'm going to explain to you why institutions buying does not mean we're ready to shoot back to the upside just yet. This chart right here, the 2 weekly chart, is what is giving me pause, a little bit of concern, thinking that 74 to 72,000 still sits on the table. That is because here, about a month and some change ago, we got that sell signal, the red reversal, bearish divergence, bearish momentum, negative money flow, okay? I do not see a time on Bitcoin's chart where this sell signal does not end up coming back down to touch the blue smart trail. This even happened as recent as last summer. If you're saying, Tim, we're in a bull market, we don't have to hit it. Well, that's exactly where we bottomed out last summer in July of 2024. So this continues to be something on my radar that says, yeah, shorter term charts like the daily and the 2 daily, they're showing continual moves to the upside. I don't think that the rally that we're under right now is over, but I am looking at this 2 weekly chart. I'm looking at that daily chart and saying, man, we're getting very close to the horizontal level of resistance as well as the downtrending resistance of lower highs and lower lows that we have been under since January 20th. And I just want to continue to preach what we call cautious optimism, right? There's a lot of reasons to be bullish about the bull market. There's a lot of reasons, even if we dip down to 74, not to give up hope. I hope you guys don't think that I am a bear in the sense of thinking that we're entering a long-term bear market. I am so crazy bullish about the year 2025, but I'm also realistic with the charts. I don't always get things 100% right, but if I have an opinion that the charts later invalidate, I will change my opinion and go with what the charts are saying. I was wrong about 90K holding. There was a lot of evidence that 90K could hold for support. But of course, as you guys know, back at the end of February, we lost that support. And ever since then, I've had to reevaluate how we're reading the charts. And right now, this is still what we are watching for. A move up here closer to 90 and then a move potentially down towards 74. Now, I told you guys in the beginning of the Bitcoin TA, there was something on the 4-hour chart that I want you guys to be aware of. And that is that technically speaking, the 4-hour chart did print a sell signal on the Lux Algo Oscillator. What am I talking about? Well, you guys, we're going to make a t-shirt called Red Reversal, Bearish Momentum, Negative Money Flow, right? I feel like if there's something, if every one of you guys could have $1 for every time I said that sentence, or bullish reversal, bullish momentum, bullish money flow, you guys would have a lot of money, right? You guys would be very wealthy because I say it all the time. I say it because it's the greatest trade signal that I use to know when to buy and when to sell, or when to long or when to short. And right now, the 4-hour chart is giving me that sell signal earlier this morning, late last night around 10 p.m. However, we are still hovering below the smart trail right now. And I think we have targets that at least would take us down towards 85,000, if not down here towards 82.7, right? So we're looking at those 2 examples of support. But what I would not be surprised at all is before we make that move to the downside, if we set up some bearish divergence first. Take a look at these oscillators, even without looking at the sell signal we have going on. You will see that right now, as Bitcoin's price is rallying again on the 4-hour chart, getting very close to levels we hit yesterday morning, with candle close on the 4-hour chart back up towards 88.4, the oscillators very much look like they're going to put in lower highs. What am I kind of starting to get at? I think that before Bitcoin makes a move back down, could we get to 89K? Could we get to 90K? That's where I'm not 100% certain. I think 89K is a very interesting spot to keep an eye on with this rising level of resistance. If I can come back to the chart, we're on a rising channel right here. But my overall point here is that I believe, despite the fact that we do have a sell signal on the 4-hour chart, and we should be looking for levels more than likely back down here, again, at least towards 85, if not down lower, we might have a little bit more to the upside to happen before we set up bearish divergence. What am I talking about? Well, if Bitcoin's 4-hour chart continues to rally up here, comes back up towards 89, 89.4, hits this resistance and moves to the downside, while at the same time, these oscillators, I can go ahead and just draw for you, put in lower highs right there on the Lux Algo, here on the MACD, here on the RSI. We're nowhere close to rematching those highs, even though we're very close to surpassing the previous highs. This would be that bearish divergence, that fake out that we got the sell signal early, but they wanted one more good shakeout to the upside before bringing the prices to the downside. That is what I'm looking for right now. I put a trade into our VIP trading group today on how I'm looking to trade Bitcoin here in the next little bit. Another good reason I'm looking at 89K is look at these long liquidations, short liquidations that are in play right now. This is a classic target for experienced traders to look and target out all of those shorts. Then they regroup and they build their own and they push the price to the downside. So that's what we're kind of watching right now. Again, the reason why 82.7, not only is that a zone of support from other smart trails and whatnot, it is a heavy level of liquidations here as well. You might be asking the question, Tim, and we're going to kind of get into this with a lot of charts. We're going to look at Solana's chart. We're going to look at JASMY's chart. People have been asking about JASMY here recently. We'll look at a couple others, but you're going to sit here and say, Tim, the title and the thumbnail are talking about the institutions buying in bulk. Why are you talking about move to downside? Go ahead and go off my screen. There you go, Smay. You beat me to it. Some of you do not like this word, this term, and I am okay with you not liking it. But the problem is, it doesn't care if you like the word or not. This word will happen despite your feelings about it. And that word has, 4 syllables? 5. Manipulation. Manipulation. Get used to that 5-syllable word. I had to kind of count it there for a second. Manipulation means when you look left, they go right. When you go up, they go down, and vice versa. They are constantly trying to shake you out, and we are in a heavy season of manipulation. If you don't agree with me on that phrase, just think about it. Every single time we've gotten good news recently, the markets fall to the downside. And coincidentally, sometimes when we have bad news, the markets move to the upside. And then we have these shakeouts where we hit some support or resistance levels, and everyone thinks the market's about to make a certain move, and it kind of hesitates and re-goes, making everyone think the market's wrong, and then it continues in the right direction. You want to know why that is? Manipulation. Manipulation. Guys, the institutions are buying. There's a lot of evidence stacking up all over the place. The institutions are buying. The whales are buying. The money is flowing back into crypto. So why do I not think it's over? Because there's this little expression that when retail misses the boat, when the price has dropped significantly and retail didn't buy in, and people are saying, can we take it back just one more time for me to buy? Well, too bad, retail. You guys don't get to dictate the market. We're not the big boys. We don't have the majority of the money. That's where the whales and institutions lie. And when the whales and institutions miss the boat, they always find a way to bring the boat back. So as we're seeing this increased interest from institutions and whales to buy up more crypto, to buy up some Solana, we're going to talk about that more here in just a second, to buy up the Bitcoin ETFs, to buy up all these other altcoins, now that they're ready to buy, they're going to give you a little bit of a pump to the upside. They're going to let you read that news. Institutions are buying. It's going to make you really, really giddy, really bullish. And then they're going to break your heart by sending price back down, either at least double bottoming at a previous low, if not going slightly below to another level. Now, when your heart is broken and you're sitting here saying, I'm never believing another bullish headline ever again, I'm selling my crypto, I'm getting out, this whole thing is a scam, they're chuckling because they are buying that dip. They'll buy your capitulation or you're selling at a low level, and then they shoot price back to the upside. I talked about this yesterday, but let me show you again. The amount of pessimism, let's go back to my screen here. The amount of pessimism back here in the summer of 2024 when the Japanese carry trade was happening, when a lot of other bearishness was happening, you see this price wick to the downside and then shoot back to the upside. You have a move all the way back over in 2021 during the summer. Everyone thought the bull market was over. Elon sold his Bitcoin. The price came down. We just started moving sideways. And then right here in July, we made one more move to downside. The retail capitulated. Institutions bought it up. Look how fast we rebounded back to levels we hadn't seen in months. This is the story of manipulation. Go back even to COVID, where COVID came, surprising everybody. People freaked out. We didn't know if we were going to even survive the night. Retail took advantage, institutions took advantage of retail. They bought the dip. We still had our big, long bull market. What am I getting at? What I'm getting at is it's great news that institutions are about to buy. It's great news we're going to talk about. And this is the reason why you should continue to hold on to your cryptocurrency, because we have a bright future. But if you think the volatility and the manipulation and the chaos is over, I'm sorry, it is not. The best thing you can do is learn to attach yourself to the whale rather than complaining. There's a lot of people out there that hear about manipulation and say, well, that's just not fair. This is stupid. I don't want to be involved in a market where all the rich just get to keep controlling the markets. And let me know how whining, complaining does for your pocketbook. In my history, I don't think anyone in the world has been profitable just complaining about how unfair the world is. You can do that. It's not going to work out well for you. Or you can do what I do and become a sucker fish. You might not be a whale. I might not have billions of dollars of cryptocurrency or any type of currency, but I do learn to think the way they think, and I attach myself to their movements. I buy when they buy. I sell when they sell. I play their game. And in that world, I increase my wealth with every single shakeout, fake out, and manipulative move. That's my strategy. Let me know if that's something you guys are interested in as well. I can teach you a thing or two about it. With that said, I want to bring back Tshroom and kind of continue this conversation with him, because we have some big stories that are really optimistic about where the markets are going. But real quickly, Tshroom, just chime in on that. Chime in on the manipulation and institutional movements. What are your opinions on all that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, you don't release a bunch of ETFs for an emerging asset class like altcoins until the prices are low, right? You release those ETFs when the prices are low so that your buddies on Wall Street can get access to the prices at the bottom basement discount levels, right? It would be very silly to release the ETFs when the prices are the highest, because Wall Street's just going to twiddle their thumbs and say, why would we buy this at the highs? We don't buy things on a premium. We buy them at a discount. So manipulation, it's not a bad thing necessarily. Sometimes it can be. But it's something that if you ignore it, you're going to be punished for that. So the solution isn't to run and scream and leave the market. It's what Tim said, is to be a sucker fish. Now, if you're not from the United States, or if you're not familiar with that colloquialism, a sucker fish, I have pulled up on my screen an image that illustrates what is being meant by this. This is a sucker fish. You have the big whale here. I believe it's a whale shark. And then you have the sucker fish. The sucker fish is able to move around the ocean of no exerting energy of its own. It just attaches to the whale and also gets to feed on its skin, which is kind of, you start to lose the meaning of the analogy there. But the point is that it is benefiting from the bigger whale. That is the key to these markets. Has it always been like that? Not necessarily. Will it always be like that in the future? Not necessarily. But right now, that is the best move in the market, because information is so widely available. You just follow what the whales are going to do. Now, Tim, I do have a lot of information that supports that institutions are very, very interested in crypto. And this comes to us from a very small Twitter account called Crypto Nutshell, but I thought I'd give them their due here. They made a great compilation of this information from a Coinbase study. Coinbase finds that over 75% of institutional investors are going to increase crypto exposure. Allocations are set to rise. 83% of institutional investors plan to increase their crypto exposure this year. Stablecoins are being used. 84% of investors are already using or considering stablecoins. Institutional investors, that is. What about altcoins? 73% of institutional investors hold cryptocurrencies beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. And this last one is kind of pointing to what is becoming, I think, could be the biggest emerging bullish catalyst for price unlock, which is this: 68% of institutional investors are interested in altcoin ETFs pending the SEC approvals. Remember, as bullish as we are, there's no spot ETF in the United States that's been approved by the SEC other than for Ethereum and Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. It's very, very bullish. Institutions, those big whales, you don't want to fade them. You don't want to try to fight the institutions in this cycle. In the past, you could have won fighting the institutions because they were too dumb. They were uninformed. This time around, they have paid a lot of money to make sure they know more than you do. And here at the Investing Bros, we try to latch on to the institutional investor, figure out their patterns, figure out what they know and what they still don't know, and invest accordingly and trade accordingly. So I love it. Manipulation, it's here. I'm here for it, baby. Lower prices, I'm here for it.
It's so crazy too, because we say this all the time. I want to chime in, and we're getting to the Solana story, and we're looking at the Solana chart, and we're looking at a couple of their altcoins. Everyone likes the word manipulation as a negative term. Manipulation is going to manipulate the price to the downside and to the upside. So embracing the volatility is just something that wealthy people have learned how to do. I mean, even this concept we're talking about here with Bitcoin back to 74K, I know that feels like that would be a lot. A lot of you guys would be, your portfolio would hurt. It would feel very crushing to your soul. It's really not that big of a pullback. If we went back to 74, I mean, that would only be a little over a 30% pullback for Bitcoin. Go study the history of Bitcoin. A 30% pullback is really nothing during a bull market. These institutions have done their homework. They understand the true long-term value proposition. And so, yeah, they'll manipulate price to the downside to break some spirits, but then they will send it soaring to the upside. And that's what I think a lot of people are not factoring in this bull market, is that this is the institutional bull market. The bull market of institutional adoption is another way I phrase it. In the past, like in 2021, where the price was suppressed, it really should have gone over 100,000. It didn't. But it's because the institutions didn't fully understand it, and they used all of their manipulation power to suppress the price, right? They weren't manipulating and buying it. They were manipulating it to push it down because it threatened their way of life. But now they've embraced it. Now we're watching them say, oh my gosh, this Bitcoin and cryptocurrency thing, this is something that if we utilize it the right way, we can take our wealth to brand new levels. But how do you make sure you get enough of it at cheap levels? You increase the volatility, you manipulate price up and down, you confuse the crap out of retail investors, you who pay for the media, you put out reports scaring people into thinking we're heading into some major recession, we're having some major sell-off of cryptocurrency. And then when everyone is freaking out and they've lost their heads, you buy the dip and you then send it to the moon. Guys, I still think Bitcoin's going over 200K, if not 300K by the time this bull market's over. The question is when, not if. But a big part of that is because these institutions, they're falling in love with these cryptocurrencies and they want to make a lot of money and they're willing to be patient and take their time to do so. You just got to strap in and kind of ride that wave as well. Now, I did see a comment earlier I wanted to comment on, and then we'll kind of go back into Solana here. Someone was saying this dude clearly sold his bags and is now just looking for a dip to validate himself. If you guys have been watching my show, we've been very, very open. We have not sold a single Satoshi. My altcoins, if you guys have altcoins like, let's see, what is Cardano down right now? Cardano, from those highs we had just back in December, is still down, 43%. At one point, it was down 61%. You guys know what that means? At one point, my Cardano holding was down 61%. Right now, my Cardano holding from back in December is down 43%. Sui, loved my Sui. At one point, my Sui prices were down 61%. Right now, they're still down 53%. I'm not selling a single coin. I'm buying up more dips. Now, I'm shorting sometimes. I'm using some of these negative price actions to short, like we set up this morning in our live trading show. But I'm not selling a single Satoshi because I know when you zoom out and you look at coins like this, let's go to the Bitcoin chart here just to revisit. When you zoom out and you look at the chart like this, let's go to the weekly so it looks a little better. That's a very bullish looking chart. That's a chart that just keeps going up, 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 and to the right. And this pullback, while people are freaking out about it, even a pullback maybe as far as 74,000, which is where this red line is, that's not a scary looking pullback whatsoever. Long term, that's an amazing bull rally. We are far from being done, but we're aware on looking at the history of Bitcoin's price, as bullish as it is, look at all the volatility that happens. Look at the craziness that can happen inside of bull markets and maintain the bullishness. All we're talking about right now is there are still significant levels that say 74K is on the table, but the bull market, the long-term trajectory, it is looking better than ever. Ride the waves, buy the dips, hodl on for dear life, and you, my friend, might make yourself a lot of money.
I like it. I like it. Yep, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, Tim. Be the sucker fish. Don't fight the whales. Be the sucker fish, especially for this cycle, right? It's the institutional cycle.
Bada boom. Well, Tshroom, let's get into Solana here. I put a poll in chat. We have over 527 people that have voted, but over 850 people watching. Smash that like, everybody, if you're enjoying the show. But I asked the question, will Solana pass Ethereum's market cap by 2030? You know, we have some really good news today where two very large institutions, BlackRock and Fidelity, have upped their relationship. This isn't a brand new relationship. We've known for a while that these institutions like Solana, but we're hearing a lot of updates with how they're moving forward with Solana. Will we see it pass Ethereum? Will we see XRP pass Ethereum? And it's crazy. I did not guess right here. I thought it was going to be at least 50-50. I thought we'd probably have a little more leaning at no. I thought a lot of people would probably lean towards it, but 64% of our audience right now, Tshroom, is saying that Solana will pass Ethereum by 2030. Very interesting. Again, I don't think I'm as confident as you guys, but I absolutely think that opportunity is on the table, especially with news like what we're hearing today. And with that said, let's remind everybody, even though we talked about it a little earlier, Tshroom, for anyone just joined the show right now, what is going on with Solana? What are the massive details with institutional adoption?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the CBOE has just filed a 19B4 that is an incremental step towards the passage of an ETF for Solana. And they've done this on behalf of Fidelity for that spot Solana ETF called Fidelity Solana Fund. So Fidelity, Solana, institutional, crypto, Web3. Doesn't stop there. BlackRock expands its blockchain-based money market fund to Solana. Money market funds are mutual funds that invest in highly liquid short-term debt securities. And of course, we have Larry Fink to thank for this as he looks on knowingly and stoically, knowing the future of finance. The whale, the ultimate whale, some might say. So Solana getting double thumbs up from the most all-in institutions in Web3, in crypto, Fidelity and BlackRock. Tim, I'm interested to see just how the charts are reacting to these headlines.
Yeah, let's take a look here at what is going on. Solana with a little bit of a pump the last couple of days, even before the news. You can see here 3 pretty good white candles in a row. In fact, if we can close a little bit higher here today, I would say where we currently are is not going to be able to validate what I'm about to say. But if this candle can come back up and close maybe 148, maybe above 150, that'd be pretty cool. This little formation, I actually was just making a video about this for our Broz Academy. This formation could be a 3 white soldiers. Now, again, I want to see a thicker last third candle here, but this could be a 3 white soldiers situation. That's a very bullish formation. Could keep the momentum going to the upside. If this closes down low, if it becomes a bearish candle, then of course it invalidates the move overall. But it is a very good start for Solana. The problem is, though, again, zoom out before you freak out or go crazy here. As much as the long-term charts on Solana, I love what's happening here, right? Solana, one of the few altcoins that actually did set a brand new all-time high so far in this bull market, even though I don't think it's over. We are still massively up from where this bull market started. I mean, let's say you bought the $8 bottom back here in January 2023. Right now, you are still up 1,600% from that bottom of the bear market. That is still a good looking chart. On the more zoomed in perspective, though, can't ignore that we are under a bear trend from these highs back here on January 20th, right? We are moving and making lower highs and lower lows. Excuse me. Got a nice itch on my eyeball right there. Don't know what that is from. This trend line we even kind of see developing here. We are not quite breaking above just yet. If you're connecting all of these resistance levels and the most recent one set back here on March 2nd, right now we are currently kind of wrestling with that resistance level. Let's turn that red. I like turning my resistance red, my support green. You can make the argument we're kind of in a bullish formation, though, with maybe a little bit of a falling wedge pattern going on here. Let's turn that line. Why did I go teal? What the heck? There we go. All right. Good looking formation. What does this mean? Well, we're sitting in a resistance level right now from just fundamental technical analysis. This is sitting on resistance. But if we get a breakthrough, these formations, usually you take the opening distance of the formation. If I can do this without causing a problem, you move it over to a potential breakout spot. This could send Solana back up above $200, back towards $230. Okay, that's a very good way to look at it. But what is Luxalgo saying about this chart right now? Almost everything in crypto is under a daily buy signal, and Solana is no exception. Here recently, we had the green reversals, we had the bullish momentum. Clearly, we're getting this upward trajectory in money flow on the daily chart. Where's the daily smart trail? just barely above where we are right now. Are we going to get this big breakout on Solana? That would be awesome. The daily chart suggests 153 to 164 is something to keep an eye on. And with us already making some pretty big moves since the buy signal, I would venture to say, just like Bitcoin, I think we're closer to hitting it than we are pulling back and making this whole thing take a lot longer. What about the 2 daily chart? This one is not quite a buy signal yet, but we are on the door knocking because we have the green reversals. We had this very minor bullish divergence. Clearly, the momentum's going back up, and we're forming what I call a bubble, a bear bubble. Actually, I mean bearish bubble, right? And the bubble is where the money flow is actually pretty extremely down, right? If you've been tracking how the money's been pouring out since back here on January 25th, you really could go back to the peak of November, but let's just even start here. January 25th, we have the lowest amount of money flow in the 2 daily chart that we have seen since way back here in June of 2023. Okay. So effectively during the early stages of the bull market, but when we didn't know we were in a bull market just yet, it seemed like it was still a bear market. That's the kind of blood of money that's been pouring out that we're under right now. But with this bright red spot, this is the excessive sellers. They're heavy pushers, heavy short engineers who are just pressing. But when the bubble pops, it usually shoots to the upside. So this is a very positive sign. We aren't bullish yet. We do need to see the money flow get back above that thin red line called the bearish threshold. But when that happens, all of a sudden, with a bubble pop, you look at the conservative approach of 168 up here towards 179, but you also start to take a look and say, you know what? What's the biggest resistance levels above that? And all of a sudden, we're taking a look back above $200 up here towards 215 with that bubble potentially on the verge of popping. This could spell very good news for Solana holders and ultimately could send us up back above $200 very, very soon. With that said, these are all great things to talk about while we're still sitting beneath some pretty significant resistance. And while all of these things are looking bullish, we are still under this suppression right now. We're hitting that 4-hour smart trail. Just like Bitcoin, could we see a little bit of a sell-off coming in here where we do see Solana with that red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow? If that were to take effect, if that were to take over, I'm going to be looking at levels down here. Got a couple order blocks, 129, 122. We easily could come back down to those levels after this sell signal has been in play. So very bullish if we can get a bullish breakout going on, but I'm not unaware that the shorter time frame still spell some moves to downside. And if we do see Bitcoin move back down to 74, and you guys heard me right there, I'm saying if, even though I think that there's a decent probability of Bitcoin pulling back and the altcoin space pulling back, nothing is a guarantee. We never know what's going to happen. Tomorrow, massive news could break out that they could announce tomorrow that crypto will have 0% tax, capital gains tax, and that would just send the markets into clear chaos to the upside. But if Bitcoin does pull back, just keep an eye on this falling wedge pattern. We easily could come back down into this green zone, coming back down towards $100. I know a lot of people aren't going to want to hear that, but it's something that easily still could happen here for Solana. In fact, even all the way down here towards 99, right there, $100, that would be a falling support level that's been in play since March of 2024. So big things to the upside for Solana. If everything executes correctly and we start to break these resistance levels, love to see us move to the upside. We do need to get back above 180 to get a higher high for the first time since January. But continue to watch how the charts react. If we make a move to downside, if we reject, enter a short. Look for a move back down towards 122, maybe even 100. If we start to break through some of these major resistances, 200, 250 back on the table for our Solana holders. That's what we're seeing right now on those charts. Now, before we move on here, we're going to take a look at JASMY here in a second. I think there's a couple other stories potentially we want to take a look at, Tshroom. But let's read some chat here and see what is going on with everybody. Crash Bandaloot, I think is his name. You think he can go back lower? That's crazy. Sure. That's crazy. Call me crazy. Crazier things have happened than that. Can we review some coins that we don't normally review, says Soccer World? Well, give us a suggestion and maybe we'll take a look there. I will tell you guys that especially with me now going to start moving to those 9 a.m. live trading shows, we're going to do a lot of trading setups, a lot of technical analysis. We're pretty much going to live on the chart the entire show. These afternoon shows, while we're still going to obviously look at charts and we'll look at some shorter term things, it's going to be more on larger time frames, major news. What is the market doing overall? And we will have time for a little bit of Q&A, but I really heavily suggest if you guys want a handful of charts and lots of Q&A, make sure you start coming to my live trading show Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Nothing but charts are going to be done at that time. All right. People asking for Render, Chronos, Filecoin TA, please, says Ali Pastishi. We'll have to wait and see on that. I do need to talk about JASMY. People were kind of in the DMs, not just yesterday, but the day before, and I did put it off. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take a look at JASMY for everybody. In case you guys didn't know, JASMY, I told you guys I haven't sold anything. I am down right now in JASMY because this is one that I hold. It's kind of my high risk, high reward play. Like JASMY could end up being a total flop. It also could end up being pretty special. It could be a top 20 coin by the time it's all said and done. But just so you guys know, my portfolio was looking very good in December of 2024. It's currently down 79%, my JASMY holding. Now, I think the total amount of my portfolio in JASMY might be sitting at like 2 or 3%. It's not like we're talking about a major portion of my portfolio, but I just want to be very open with you guys. I'm not talking negatively or pessimistically about JASMY or anything in the sense of like, man, sucks to suck. Because guess what, guys? I'm in the same sucky position all the rest of you JASMY holders are in. Okay, that's why we teach you guys not to overinvest in projects like JASMY. But if you want to take a risk on them, go for it. What I'm looking at right now, we're not necessarily seeing an overwhelming, massive support for JASMY. You see very little bullish upside. Technically, last 2 days before today, we're a little bit bullish here. But you are going to say the lower and the more blood you're in with JASMY, the greater chance you have for a massive move to the upside. I mean, even just making it back, let's go back out here and zoom out, even just making it back to all-time highs at this point, which again, I think JASMY can go higher than that. But let's just pretend you're saying, you know what, when we get back to 34 cents, I want out of JASMY. Well, with this much blood that we've had, that would be a return on your investment of simply 2,700%. I think we can go a little higher than that. If everything works out for JASMY, we can go higher. But I'm just getting back to an all-time high, 2,700%. That's a 28x, everybody. Okay? So where there's blood, there's opportunity. And if you want to use the positive sentence there, opportunity, well, we got plenty of it here in the JASMY world. Let's see what the charts are saying, though, from a couple different perspectives. Clearly, we have this trend line that's in play here. Let's just kind of draw this one out. There's a couple ways I could draw this. You really could come here. I'm going to kind of go with candle body closes and kind of put it right in here. Let's make this one red. That's going to be a key resistance to take care of. Let's look at the daily chart here. What is going on? A lot of boring MACD and RSI play, like not a lot going on. There's been moments with little buy signals that come in here. Like I would make this statement that right in here was a buy signal. I don't think it did anything special. Let's take a look. Yeah, it did. It ended up not even getting back to the smart trail, which just kind of goes to tell you how little support the bulls are giving it and how strong the bears are overall. But it does look like we're making another attempt here with some bullish divergence and potentially another swing in the bullish direction. On the 2 daily chart, there is this massive bearish bubble that's been in play this whole duration of pullback that, again, just like I was talking about with Solana, that bubble looks like it's about to pop. And in fact, we get a close here on the 2 daily candle. That money flow has now closed above the bearish threshold, or is above the bearish threshold. Let's close it. That could bring a major spark to JASMY that would send the price back up here towards 2 cents. Would love to see it. Okay, so that's a little bit of hopium there for you on the charts. There technically is a lot of buying pressure. The problem, however, and I was looking at this earlier, is when the bears are this strong, you cannot rule out a potential move to the downside. So whether you want to, if you believe in JASMY, you want to scoop some up right now, or if you want to wait a little bit, there is something that I'm watching using fixed range volume profile. We don't look at this every single day, but sometimes, especially when we're looking at more macro moves, it's kind of appropriate to look at it. Look at the gap here on the fixed range volume. I'm a big believer that gaps can be the strongest support levels with fixed range volume. That gap is coming in here right around 0.813. So 0.8 cents, not even a full cent. We dropped below a cent. Look at what else is in that area when I kind of highlight it, right? So we're looking at this gap right here, right? So let's just put a little zone. Look at what has happened in this zone, in this gap. Yes, I'm going back here to February of 2023, to May of 2023, even over here in December of 2023. This was used several times as resistance, okay? Well, Not always, because there's definitely times in the past with every coin that they leave resistance and they just take off. But you're going to notice here that when we broke through this resistance back in February of 2024, we never came anywhere back close to it. And you know what? After spending a long time supporting up here on 1.5 cents, I would have been a little bit of a believer in saying, hey, I think this level's over. I think we're going to maintain 1.5. This is going to be good support. Well, of course, now that we've lost that support and we're coming down and the bears are showing they're still in full control, if we don't start to sustain a longer bullish movement here soon when everything else looks like it's starting to kind of turn around, don't be surprised if JASMY maybe revisits some former resistance, hits a fixed range volume gap down here south of 1 cent, around 0.8 cents. That zone could end up being the next good buying opportunity. Again, I'm not saying this to crush you in spirit. I'm going to continue to hold my JASMY, whether JASMY does this and makes me a lot of money right now, or whether JASMY does this, I'm going to let my JASMY ride or die because it is my high risk, high reward play. One of the big reasons it's suffering right now is JASMY is a coin that's more popular. Some people would call it like the Japanese Bitcoin. You know, it's got a very close, tight-knit relationship with Japan. Japan's kind of feeling some pain here, you know, recently. Their economy is not necessarily doing that well. If you want to sell your JASMY this far down, almost 80% down from where we just were in December, be my guest. I'm not going to add to it. I'm not going to continue to add more gamble to the pie, but I'm going to continue to ride my JASMY coin out. I still think this is a coin that can make its way back up to former all-time high, if not go a little bit higher. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about JASMY. Are you giving up? Are you going to stay in? Let me know. Tshroom, before we get into any other Q&A and engage with chat here a little bit, are there any other news stories we want to bring up and have a quick discussion on, and then we'll get back into some chat?
I want to hear what you think about this bullish speculation on GameStop. They have their earnings call after the market close today.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting because they do have about $5 billion cash. Do you think that GameStop went ahead and bought some Bitcoin? Because the CEO of GameStop did hang out with Michael Saylor recently. Of course, we don't know that. We don't have any kind of inside information. All we know is the public fact set, which is that GameStop has a lot of money and the CEO of GameStop met with Michael Saylor. Those two things are confirmed. Tim, what's your hunch here? Do you think at the end of the market closing at this Q4 earnings call, the Bitcoin might have a bid to the upside once the investors know that GameStop went ahead and bought Bitcoin?
Well, here's what we know. We know you cannot have a meeting with Michael Saylor and Bitcoin not come up, right? So that's check number one in the right direction, right? He is going to orange pill anything with a heartbeat that comes into his vicinity, right? I wouldn't be surprised to hear that he's trying to convince dogs, cats, and hamsters to be buying Bitcoin at this point. The other thing that's going to be very interesting here is, of course, GameStop is a big, their stock is a big statement in the anti-traditional TradFi movement, right? Back in 2021, even earlier in 2024, during big pumps, we saw GameStop be, a kind of a rally cry. What's the guy's name that makes that? Smay, you might remember. I always forget his name because it's very silly. What's the guy's name?
You got to give me more. You got to give me more context.
Do you remember Tshroom? It was something cat. Like, chat, help me out.
What is the Roaring Kitty?
Roaring Kitty.
Yeah.
Roaring Kitty. Okay. All right. So Roaring Kitty is this influencer who has this very stick it to the man, anti-establishment, anti-Wall Street. Let's pump a stock that doesn't really have any reason to pump because it's not like the fundamentals of the company are just improving, but let's stick it to Wall Street and let's all us humans bond together and buy in on this stock and send it to the moon. Okay. Even though Bitcoin is taking an institutional route, Bitcoin is a little bit of that movement as well. And there's a lot of people recently who have kind of been like, man, Bitcoin lost its purpose. The whole purpose, and I'm not doing anything in my chart, so you don't have to go to it. The whole purpose of Bitcoin was to get rid of the banks, to get rid of TradFi. I believe that Bitcoin is going to do that long term. I believe that Bitcoin is in a little bit of a Trojan horse situation where it's getting into all these centralized institutions, getting into Wall Street. They're buying it up because they see its value. And then slowly but surely, because of the laws of how Bitcoin works, the power will return to the people. But it makes sense to me. I know I'm taking you guys a little bit of tangent here. It makes sense to me that the CEO of GameStop would want to be going all in with Bitcoin because his company and his stock has been utilized as a part of that stick it to the man movement where the little guys try to make some wealth for themselves instead of just Wall Street. So there's no facts about this. We don't know. We just know Michael Saylor probably told him to buy Bitcoin. We know it makes sense with kind of what's going on with the company. Could that happen? That would be huge. Another institutional story of Bitcoin adoption. I would love to see it.
Well, Tim, there's a couple of things here that have developed since you were giving your take. First of all, Soccer World brought to my attention that there's actually a Polymarket spread attempting to answer this very question. Will GameStop purchase Bitcoin by April 1st? There's currently a 9% chance that will happen, according to the order book over at Polymarket. But I think that there's a chance they will. And I actually bought a little bit of GameStop a couple of weeks ago. Not very much, but I did buy. Cool. I bought a little GameStop stock because of this. See, this is the OwnB ETF. This is as many of the companies as possible that own Bitcoin other than MicroStrategies. So, like think your Semler Scientific and others, right? These are not necessarily, these are not Bitcoin mining companies. These are just companies that sell a thing or a service, and they bought Bitcoin and hold it on their balance sheet, kind of in the model, in the image of MicroStrategy. So this baby was launched March 11th. Not very long ago at all, but it is currently to live price up 20%. Okay. So it has done pretty well. And, so if I'm GameStop CEO, I might be looking at this ETF. I might be looking at MicroStrategy and talking with the CEO of Wade he is. I might be looking at Semler Scientific. I might be even looking at the Bitcoin miners and saying, man, getting involved in Bitcoin is kind of aligned with the sentiment of the investors who like GameStop. Right. Now, the counter argument to this and why I think Polymarket's only giving it a 9% is that there's still a lot of kind of stiff necks that are kind of Wall Street, old style folks who would sell GameStop if it was disclosed that they bought Bitcoin. So, there still is a calculation on behalf of the shareholders that Ryan Cohen has to make, but he's a bit of an extreme guy. It'll be interesting. I'll definitely be watching the news to see if GameStop pulled the trigger on this. No, we do have I already showed a stock. I showed OwnB. That's technically a stock. There's not much TA to be done on it.
But that was off script. We have to do the plan we planned. Right?
That's right. That's right.
What stocks do we want to look at today?
Let's see if the chat can guess which stock it is. The first ticker that I see that gets it right, they will get a shout out. Okay, so this stock, the CEO of that was a great drum roll.
I think I did have to do this.
Okay, I didn't even have to describe it. Texas Crocker already got it. It's Tesla.
Tesla.
Wait, how did they know that? Did it go to my screen or something?
No, they're just really good guessers. We have a smart community, Tshroom.
That's true.
That's true. They're smart people.
Leslie Herbert did guess wrong. So, okay. It's not coin, it's Tesla. So this is Tesla.
It was a good second guess.
It did just get a buy rating here from Luxalgo on the daily chart. And what you'll notice is that there is kind of a deciding line coming up here for Tesla, because what's happening right now is the classic breakthrough, retest, breakout. Now, the breakout part and the retest part have not yet happened. And when I throw on the trend-based Fibonacci extension, not that one, you can see that when we come back and retest this downtrending line of what was resistance and what could be support for the Tesla traders, it coincides with the golden pocket of that trend-based fib. So this could be pretty big. Now, looking at all of the confluence, though, I want to also see what the Bollinger Bands are doing. The Bollinger Bands are showing me that this is actually a pretty bullish move. Let me show you why. If you go ahead and you look at the Bollinger Bands, we have not traded above this blue line for a long time. It's been all the way back since January 30th of this year. We have traded below that Bollinger Band line. So when I pop back off the Bollinger Bands and I go and look at the oscillators, I want to see, is it going to be bullish down here as well? I would make the argument that this is a pretty bullish MACD. You have 4 ascending histograms here, acceleration of bullish momentum. You also are post bull cross here on the MACD. Now let's see if the oscillator matrix, and this is where the breaks come in, right? Because I'm getting a reversal dot up here, and the hyperwave has had a confirmed buy signal down here, right? But that may have played out. So were we able to get up above that 20-day moving average on the Bollinger Bands? Yes. But will we come back down and confirm this breakout? That yet is still uncertain. If we do break out here, this is a pretty decent entry, I would say. If you are looking to invest, even potentially take a swing trade, breaking out and then getting back up above wherever this candle closes is going to be a sure sign that investors are ready to allocate much more seriously to go ahead and try to take out that all-time high back up at 486. Not saying that that's going to happen immediately. Definitely don't think that that's going to happen immediately. But that would be the eminent move, in my opinion, if we did get a breakout retest. Tim, what are your thoughts here on Tesla Motors stock?
Yeah, just quick thought on Tesla from the charts perspective. As Tshroom was saying, the 12-hour and the daily are both have those buy signals, and people are going to love seeing those. Go to my screen here, Smay. Love those buy signals. Well, technically speaking, while we could pop through, and I'm not going to guarantee a pullback, we are hitting resistance right now on the daily and 12-hour. We're hitting both the 12-hour and the daily smart trails. Okay, could we go higher? Absolutely, we could go higher. The problem is, though, there's 2 pretty glaring things sticking out at me that we might want to pull back down to 248, 245 first. Number 1, clearly a gap, right? We created a gap here on Friday, the 21st. We closed Tesla at 248. We reopened on Monday at 257. Okay, don't have to go back down, but that's not the only reason why I'm saying we need to potentially go back down there. You guys know I was looking at Bitcoin and altcoins on the 4-hour chart, a little overextended. Well, it's not giving us a sell signal yet, but we are seeing 2 pretty big reversal dots. We are seeing the RSIs back to being oversold. We see the money flow is starting to slow down its positivity right there with us hitting some of those resistance levels. And if it does come back down, the target you're going to keep an eye out for here on the 4-hour chart is the smart trail. Guess where? Right there at 247. Okay. Even when you zoom out here, this is a level. If I just kind of put a zone here and went back in history, let's make a little box right here. Go back into the history of Tesla. This area is actually a pretty good area of support and resistance historically on Tesla. So coming back down, this is a level that people like to buy. They like to sell. I love what I'm seeing on Tesla. I do believe Tesla has a very, very bright future. If we can smash through this daily smart trail and keep going, heck, let's go to the upside. I'm not necessarily telling everybody go enter a short on Tesla right now, like my guy named the same name, Tim Walls. Don't do that, Tim Walls. You know that Minnesota's invested in it, so that didn't make sense anyway. But I do think that this is on the table. And I'm sitting here saying, man, if I believe in Tesla long term, I think I'm going to get another shot down here at 247, 248 to buy up some of this dip before we do take off back to, do we say the moon in the stock world? Well, you guys got to give me the right etiquette in the stocks world. Do they say to the moon? Can we say to the moon? Can we say to Mars because this is Tesla? And of course, we have Elon Musk and SpaceX kind of related to it. Anyway, that's the Tesla TA for the day. It's 3:57, which means it's time to go ahead and wrap up the show. Guys, go ahead and smash that like button. I know our family's been a little smaller here recently. I'm looking across all of cryptocurrency YouTube channels. It does seem like everybody is taking a little dip in viewership. What does that mean? It means right now crypto's not the main topic. YouTube's not really pushing out crypto content. So what you have to do is smash the like button and make sure you're subscribed with every YouTube account you have to let YouTube know, hey, I want to see, and other people like me want to see this type of crypto content. Smash that like button right now. And again, make sure to join us Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for live trading. Also, go subscribe really quickly right now. AB, Alpha Broz, our secondary channel that Crux is crushing. He is about to release a Toncoin video. You do not want to miss it. Go subscribe to Alpha Broz channel here as well. He has 1.52 thousand subscribers, despite the fact that we just launched this in this year. I mean, it's only been 2 months old at this point, and he is doing such a great job giving you all of the alpha you need about cryptocurrency. Go subscribe to Alpha Broz. Go watch the Toncoin video. Smay, it's Smay time, everybody. He's going to come on up and give us, let's start with a definition, because there was some debate about yesterday's factoid of the day. Can you give us a brief definition of what a factoid is? Because yesterday seemed pretty subjective.
Tim, I'd love to give a definition of the factoid. Here's the thing, guys. Facts intrinsically are, until we get more information, they are, in some sense, there's going to be some debate and disagreement. But it really, what a fact is what, with the most evidence, we can conclude is the truth. Okay? So yesterday, we did a thing on the pyramids, for instance, and that the reason why that classified as a factoid is because despite all the conspiracy theories and despite all the different trails you can take that and different beliefs about it, there is still the one main belief based on the evidence we currently have, which is that the Egyptians built it. Okay, so there we go. With that being said, I just want to say, first and foremost, if you want to hear more about definitions for things like that, check out the free Discord, and also check out Alpha Bros. All right, with that, let's jump into Factoid of the Day. This one, an absolute factoid.
Dips for buying says factoids are whatever Smay says it is, sorted.
That's exactly right. And by the way, here's another absolute factoid. This is a fact. How many Smays would it take to beat a gorilla in a fight? Guys, there has been absolute science and study and algorithms that went into this answer. So this is a fact. This classifies as a fact. There's a lot of evidence to support the answer. So
what
with
kind
that,
of gorilla?
This would be I can give you the stats of the gorilla
male,
right now.
Full-grown adult male.
I have the stats because it was part of the algorithm. Okay, this it's standing 5'6". It's a male standing 5'6", 350 to 450 pounds. It's about 4 to 9 times stronger than an average adult human, which I'm obviously above average. They have a bite force of 1,300 PSI. That's stronger than a lion's bite force, just so you know. And their fighting style, they got full-on primal rage, biting, grappling, throwing, pounding. That's what we got.
Factor.
Okay,
So,
all right. So
I'll give you my stats. I'll give you my stats real quick. We got a height of about 6.5 feet. We got a weights, in the high 300s. We got age 24 in my physical prime. I do light cardio every day. And I'm stronger than the average person. So.
What's your longest golf drive? What's the longest you ever driven the ball?
My longest golf drive is like 220.
220.
There we go.
What's your primal rage factor right now?
Yeah, no, this is the key question, right? So are we talking about like 1 to 25 normal Smays that have fear and care for their body? Or are we talking about rabid Smays? Like you don't care if you're going to die or not. You're going all in. You're going to bite this gorilla. You're just no fear whatsoever. What's the level of
these Smays are taking it to the home court of the gorilla. We are willing to just go all out to win. Yeah. Coordinated effort. There is no self-preservation involved.
Okay.
I'm going 4 to 6, B.
I'm leaning 4 to 6 as well. I think 4 to 6, probably leaning towards the 6 side, but 4 to 6 rabid Smays. That's a lot of manpower right there, right? 6 times 220. We're talking what is that exact number? How many yards can these amount of Smays drive a golf ball? That's really going to factor into my decision. Because we got to talk golf here. 220 times 6. Man, we're talking about 1,300 yards of driving power right to the dome of this gorilla. 4 to 6, B is my final
I have
answer.
No tools, though, so there is no – this golf swing mechanic is irrelevant.
You can swing with the fist. I mean, you have 12 fists swinging at this guy. He can't handle
listen,
it.
me and Tim have sparred in a boxing match before, and tell me, Tim, it was pretty scary. If there were 6 of me, you would have faced no chance.
Listen, it must have been dangerous because I have no recollection or memory of this fight, which means you must have punched me so hard, I lost my memory.
Exactly. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, the answers are locked in. Man, they are so smart. It is 4 to 6. I have the fact check right here from our good friends of ChatGPT. I put in the stats, I put in the things, and this is what it estimated. It would take 4 to 6. At 4, 1 grabs each limb, 2 go for the knockout. Possible but risky. At 5, better control, but you overwhelm it faster. 6, you're probably walking away with some bruises and stories, but you win.
Oh, yeah. At least 2 or 3 Smays aren't going to walk out of that fight alive. but that still
No.
leaves you another 3 to 4 that can do a lot of damage.
But allegedly 6. And I would say maybe if there were 6 of us, maybe let's just say one of them is incapacitated. But
All right.
there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Factoid Day. Check out free consultation, decrypted.tax, that kind of stuff. See you later.
There he goes.
Let us know in chat. Do you guys think that was a fact, or was it more of a smatoid? I'm just glad that we both got it right. I haven't won a factoid of the day in quite some time, so getting back in the W column is a big win for me personally. Tony Rosa says fatality. Justin Dew says no. One shot Smay holds a gorilla arm. There we go. All right, guys, 100% factual. Thank you much for being here. Tomorrow morning, I will not be doing live trading, but there will be a new series that we're doing called What the Heck? It's going to be about Chainlink. It's a new coin update video. So make sure tomorrow morning, probably 9 a.m., we're going to be putting out a Chainlink update video called What the Heck is Going On with Chainlink. Let us know your thoughts after you watch it. With that said, go check out Alpha Bros. Go subscribe to the Discord. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Adios.